I hope you're ready for your man.
Ishi Hakase.
We are here to talk about this crazy, crazy, mad world that we live in. But it's our world. We love it. We're just here to lampoon the news. We're here to bring you the funny and the weird, the strange, the unbelievable, the stupid, and the refreshing. Grab your drink, grab your snack, kick back, and let's get to it. You know, I've always thought about trying to stay away from politics in this live stream. It's exhausting, it's polarizing, and quite frankly, it's unproductive. And if you want to get your fill with politics, you can go to other news sources for that. But this recent story, I just wasn't able to pass up. And it's actually going to lead us into our topic for tonight. So the question is, who the hell is Jim Jordan? Some of you already know Jim Jordan is a close ally of former President Donald Trump. During Trump's presidency, Jordan sought to discredit investigations into Russian interference in 2016. He really pushed back on the whole Trump impeachment inquiry. And Jim Jordan, he is from Ohio. He represents Ohio's 4th congressional district. He's been in office since 2007, and he's a ranking member of the House the House Committee. You will probably recognize him because he has a Jim Jordan uniform. So it's usually he wears a blue shirt, a yellow tie, very rarely wears a sport coat or a jacket. And he talks real fast, and he's real good at talking over people. Now, when it came to the January 6th attack on the Capitol, he had interactions with Donald Trump the day of the insurrection, or some people may call it a riot. Now, Jim Jordan has generally adopted a very confident posture. If you ask him a question, he snaps back very quickly with an answer. He's one of these guys that is real good at sort of crafting his narrative of speaking to things that make his point and then omitting other issues and facts that would certainly subvert his point. He's a very boisterous, confident person. But what I saw this week, it appeared to me that his confidence was a little shaky. So, there was questions about whether he had spoken to former President Trump the day of the insurrection on January 6th. Now, this is relevant because there's potential that he could be called as a witness in the congressional investigations. So, lots of reporters out there are trying to figure out, what did Jim Jordan know? So, one reporter got a hold of him. His name is Taylor Popolars of Spectrum News, and he interviewed Jim Jordan this week, and he tried to nail down the specific details of his interactions with former President Trump on January 6th. So he posed a very specific question, and I want us all to listen very carefully to Mr. Jordan's response. It is a yes or no question, and here it is, and then we'll listen. Yes or no, did you speak with President Trump on January 6th?
Gun.
Now, I won't pretend to be an expert in body language, but I think it's fairly easy to assume that Mr. Jordan seems a little ill at ease when responding to that question. When I hear someone stuttering and stammering like he was, it sort of gives me an indication that this person might not be forthcoming. Now, as important as the events were, and as shocking as the events were on January 6th. You'd figure you would remember if you had spoken to the former president before, during, or after these so-called events. For example, if you spoke to him before, the conversation might be, yeah, you won the election. We're going to get after this thing. We're going to go down. We're going to take names and we're going to kick ass and do all this other stuff. But if your conversation was after the insurrection, it might go like, oh man, you know what? I think we might have. Yeah, this just didn't go off the way I thought it was going to be, man. We need to start covering our tracks. So we will see what happens along with this investigation and how things are ultimately going to unfold. But with that said, Ohio, that is a great, great state. And I'm coming to you from somewhere in the great state of Ohio. This beautiful sunset behind me. Ohio has given us a lot, and there's a lot of good things happening in that state. But there's also a lot of curiosities that are happening in that state. Now, when I first started talking to some of my colleagues about this, one of my friends pointed me to the term Florida man. Now, Florida man is ubiquitous in the mainstream media, all right, and it often refers to all the bizarre stories that come out of the Sunshine State. Many of them are amusing, most of them are bizarre, and the headlines generally begin with, a Florida man blank, blank, blank. So as in, a Florida man gets DUI after nodding off in a Taco Bell drive-thru. Or a Florida man finds a 9-foot alligator in his backyard swimming pool. And although Florida man can be found in a number of embarrassing circumstances, oftentimes these things are funny and harmless. I mean, we've seen headlines like, a Florida man arrested for butchering alligator and says that he just wanted a new belt. Or they were using illicit drugs. Or one Florida man was charged with stealing a $1,600 dog and ultimately trading it for crack. Wow. And then I came across another Florida man story about one who was recently indicted in a fatal dog poop fight. I decided not to read along on that story. However, Florida man actually has a little bit of competition. Florida man is actually being upstaged now by Ohio man. So we saw a recent story about an Ohio man had to spend 2 days in jail for petting zoo cougars. Now, apparently he went over the enclosure and decided it was a good idea to, pet cougars. I'm not entirely sure why. But Ohio man and Florida man, they are developing countless memes, Twitter accounts, Tumblr blogs, subreddit groups, even people out there trying to create their own microbrews over Florida man and Ohio man. There has been a recent study that shows that actually Florida man, which might be the most ubiquitous, actually trails behind Ohio man, then followed by Texas man and Iowa man. And I can assure you all, you won't have to wait long before I talk about Texas man and Iowa man as well. But now we're going to enjoy some of the recent escapades of the Ohio man. And let's not forget also the Ohio woman. Our first story is by David Moye. The headline, man suspected of having sex with a van. All right, talk about all being up in somebody's grill. A man in Dayton, Ohio is facing indecency charges after a witness reported seeing him attempting to have sex with the front grille of a van parked on the street. Officers responding to a call Tuesday evening found the suspect, 35-year-old Michael Henson, wearing only a pair of black shorts and black shoes. Henson was taken into custody and put into the back of a squad car while officers spoke to a female witness. She said she saw Henson pull down his shorts and then put his genitals into the front grille of a red van parked on the side of the road, according to WDTN.com. When the suspect passed out in front of her yard near the van, then the woman called the police. Not during the so-called sex act, but actually afterwards and then when he passed out. Anyway, Henson woke up and was walking before the police got to the scene, according to the Dayton News. Officers who questioned him said he appeared to be intoxicated. No duh. Police contacted the owner of the van, who allegedly said he was unaware of any incident. Henson was booked on public indecency charges and taken to the Montgomery County Jail, where he remained on $2,500 bond until his arraignment on Wednesday, according to the Dayton Daily News. The van was not available for comment. Phyllis Jefferson's temper might be as hot as her salsa. Police in Akron, Ohio said Jefferson, 50, allegedly stabbed her boyfriend in the groin with a pen Sunday evening after he ate all the salsa in her house, reported by Cleveland.com. Jefferson's boyfriend, Ronnie Buckner, 61, told police that he and the accused were arguing about the salsa consumption when she allegedly stabbed him with a pen. The suspect then walked over to the TV and threatened to knock it to the floor, according to Ohio.com. When Buckner grabbed the TV, Jefferson allegedly walked to the kitchen to grab a knife and use it to cut him in the stomach. I guess she was trying to get the salsa back out. Jefferson fled the scene while Buckner called 911. Responding officers found him on the floor, clutching his stomach. Buckner was taken to a nearby hospital and treated for his injuries that were believed to be non-life-threatening. Jefferson was arrested a short time later. When officers pulled her over on the highway, she allegedly admitting to stabbing Buckner and said she did it because she wanted to leave. Jefferson was charged with felonious assault and criminal damaging and booked into the Summit County Jail. Now, a pen might not sound that traumatic, but let me tell you, if you have a groin and you get stabbed in the groin with a tennis ball, it's going to hurt. So we'll pay attention and see how that one gets sorted out. Chad Spoon goes on a bender after pet pig eats his marijuana. Thank you once again, David Moye, for this story. I love this term bender. Like getting so wasted over the course of 1 or 2 days that you tend to not even know where you are anymore. But the story reads, so much for living high on the hog. An Ohio man allegedly went on a bender after his pet pig ate his stash of marijuana. On Sunday, deputies in Washington County, Ohio, arrested Chad Spoon, 44, on disorderly conduct charges that were started after he discovered Millie, his beloved pet, had gobbled up his marijuana. Deputies arrived at Spoon's house after he called 911 several times and said he was having suicidal thoughts. During one call, he said he was holding a butcher's knife to his own throat, according to the police report. Spoon's wife, Heather, told officers that her husband was already depressed because of their pending divorce because, After discovering that the pig had got into his cannabis, he sort of flipped out. She said Spoon then downed an entire bottle of Everclear, a strong alcohol. I have to pause here for a second. Everclear, I would not describe that as a strong alcohol. I would describe that as the strongest of alcohols. Downing a bottle of that is closer to a death wish than a bender. But his wife told officers that Spoon gets very upset when he doesn't have marijuana. In order to arrest him, officers subdued Spoon with a taser. He was charged with disorderly conduct by intoxication and resisting arrest, both misdemeanors. Spoon is out on custody, but Millie, the pet pig, may not be in his life much longer, according to Facebook. Thank you once again, Facebook. So 2 days before his arrest, he posted on Facebook, "Anybody want a pig? She's free and comes with food and a cage." I can't stand it. She's housebroken, and as long as you show her where to go, if you have a dog, she will follow it outside. I just don't have time for her anymore. That's just great. You have a pet pig, and now all of a sudden you don't have time for your pet pig. But maybe you have time for a dog, because the dog apparently is showing Millie the way to go to the potty. I mean, does Millie understand like gestures and finger pointing? That's just great. Does anybody want a pig? It's free and comes with food and a cage. Moving along, school bus driver fired for beer drinking. Selfie. Yes, a bus driver was taking a selfie while drinking beer. We'll continue on. A school bus driver in Princeton City, Ohio, has been canned after posting a selfie that looks as if she was drinking a bottle of beer on her bus. The selfie, which was posted on Facebook, shows the driver of the Princeton City School District behind the wheel of her bus with her lips around a bottle of beer, reported by WSYX. The photo caused a brouhaha when parents and district officials saw it. Of course! And you post it on Facebook, of course somebody's going to see it. The driver, whose name has not been released, was immediately fired by her employer, First Student Transportation. The company issued a statement. "We are incredibly disappointed by our driver's actions. Behavior such as this does not align with company policy and the high standards First Student strives for in all we do." An internal investigation revealed that the bottle of beer was unopened, no students were on the bus, and that the photo was taken after the driver was off duty. None of those are valid excuses for that behavior as far as I'm concerned. But, hey, who am I? These escapades were brought to us by HuffPost. But there's more. There's a story coming out of Cleveland.com. Berea couple calls police after finding strange man asleep on their couch. Berea, Ohio. A Berea street couple called police at about midnight, June 27th, and said that they had just found a strange man sleeping on the couch in their home. The couple said they had gone to bed that night, later remembering that they had left the rear door unlocked by mistake. The woman woke up and decided to check on her cat, like the cat needs to be checked on. She heard a loud bang, which awoke the man of the house. He rose to check on the woman and saw the man sleeping on their couch. The man was in his mid-20s. He was clean shaven, had a medium-length black hair. The man was wearing dark beige pants, a tan suit jacket, which apparently belonged to the man, and the jacket was thrown over a coffee table. So apparently, dude came in and got quite comfortable, took his jacket off, propped it up on the table, and then laid back. The man living in the home turned on the light, grabbed the suit jacket, and threw it at the stranger. He asked the man, "Who are you?" The stranger told the man, "Go back to sleep." That might be the scariest thing I ever heard. You know, like, "Who are you? What are you doing in our house?" "Go back to sleep." The man living in the home ordered the other man out of the home, then escorted him out the back door. He locked the door and called 911. Police checked the area but didn't see anyone. The couple said nothing was missing from their home, nothing was broken. Police said that they would give the home special attention. The man has not been seen since. And that's great. I have not quite heard a defense of throwing someone's suit jacket at them as a deterrent. But hey, that's what happens in Ohio. But there's more. Austintown, Ohio. A man tried to seduce an underage victim with chicken Alfredo and Sprite. I can't keep it together on this one. Albert Maruna, now 23, was arrested in an Austintown sex sting back in December. He thought he was talking to a 15-year-old boy online, but it was actually an undercover Austintown police officer. Maruna arranged to meet the officer in Austintown. He planned to bring lube, Sprite, and chicken Alfredo to the date. He'll be on house arrest for 120 days and will have to register as a Tier 1 sex offender. Okay, there's a couple of things here. How is this guy only on house arrest? That he was trying to solicit a 15-year-old boy. It seems like he's getting off way too easy. And, well, maybe there's a positive here. So all of you folks there, men, women, you're trying to get the attention of that special person and you don't know how to do it. You just got to step up your game. You got to step it up to Sprite and chicken Alfredo. All right, or maybe Coca-Cola and pasta primavera. And you got to mix it up because apparently that's something that is attractive. Well, at least to an undercover officer. Allegedly. This actually reminded me of that old show, To Catch a Predator, with Chris Hansen. And I don't know if you all have caught that show. That show just would crack me up because there'd always be somebody like, "Hey, yeah, I want to come over." And they'd be talking to an undercover officer, and then they'd set up the sting, and the person would come over, and they would have like a 6-pack of wine coolers. And then there would be somebody in the back room like, "I'm taking a shower, just make yourself comfortable." And then Chris Hansen would come out. It's like, "I'm Chris Hansen, and what are you doing here soliciting an underage girl or an underage boy?" And the perpetrator would always do something like, "Well, I was worried about her, and I only came over here to protect her. I wasn't expecting to do anything." On that one. But that show was pretty funny. It turns out that Chris Hansen ended up getting himself in trouble, but we'll save that story for another day. Trooper performs Heimlich maneuver after motorist chokes on marijuana, from the Associated Press. Rootstown, Ohio. An Ohio State Highway Patrol trooper successfully performed the Heimlich maneuver after a man allegedly attempted to swallow a bag of cannabis when he was pulled over for speeding. Ohio State Police Sergeant Ray Santiago said the traffic stop occurred on July 3rd in Portage County. Trooper Charles Hoskins conducted a traffic stop for a vehicle that was allegedly traveling at 94 miles per hour in a 70 mile per hour zone. Dash camera video posted to the Ohio State Police Twitter account shows Hoskins asking if the driver could breathe before helping him out of the car and performing the Heimlich. The man expelled a bag of marijuana and then apologized to the officer. That's great. An Ohio man called the police in a panic because he thought he had smoked too much marijuana. Police found him in the fetal position, surrounded by Doritos, Pepperidge Farm goldfish, and Chips Ahoy cookies. He was fine, and police did not charge the man with any crime. Obviously, this person had a tremendous case of the munchies. But real talk, we know if that was somebody else, that story would have probably ended differently. Pet boa constrictor nearly strangles its owner in Ohio. Firefighters cut off the snake's head. Police were forced to decapitate a boa constrictor in Sheffield Lake after the pet wrapped itself around its owner and started to bite her face. While the boa's death is an unfortunate loss for the community, its owners can take solace in her 10 other pet snakes, 9 pythons, and 1 boa constrictor. Okay, let's see here. So this boa constrictor, a loss in the community. Is this boa constrictor working at the food bank or the Boys and Girls Club? How is this a big loss to the community? I'm pretty sure that the community doesn't even want to know that this woman has 10 or 11 pythons and constrictors. But continuing on, the woman got herself into quite a pickle yesterday when her recently rescued pet boa constrictor, as in somebody had this boa constrictor and then said, I can't manage this boa constrictor anymore. But the boa constrictor is housebroken and comes with food and a cage. But the boa constrictor wrapped itself around her body and began to bite her face. Firefighters who found the woman embroiled with the snake in her front driveway sliced the reptile's head off with a pocket knife to stop the attack. The woman was then taken to the hospital for non-threatening injuries. The 45-year-old woman, whom police have not named, also owns, again, 9 pythons and 1 other boa constrictor. But we have to understand something here. The boa constrictor was just doing her job. That's what they do. They constrict. I mean, what did the woman eventually think was going to happen? I mean, sooner or later, one of these serpents was going to size her up when they got hungry enough, and they're going to put the choke down. So, buyer beware. Alliance, Ohio, an Ohio man who got a police officer's help to find a bit of marijuana lost in his yard, has been charged with misdemeanor drug abuse. The patrolman's body camera video shows an intoxicated man admitting that he had lost the drug. The Alliance officer says he doesn't want children to find it, and then he locates it in the grass. The man then asked if he would throw it back down on the ground. The officer refused. Police say the officer found the man stumbling along the road and tried to get him home safely. Some commentators criticize the man as having an alcohol problem, and also criticized Alliance Police for sharing the video on Facebook. Captain James Hills tells the Akron Beacon Journal, "It's just a lighthearted example of silly things that people say to officers." Once again, that story would not have ended the same for some others. Ohio police seek suspect in theft of teeth whitening kits. From the Associated Press, Ohio police seek suspect in the theft of several Crest teeth whitening kits. Police are seeking an Ohio man who's accused of stealing more than $2,500 worth of the kits, and so far, he has made a clean getaway. That's actually how the story was written. So at least this reporter has a sense of wit. Officials say it's unusual to see so many thefts of the same brand of a product, and they continue to investigate. Oh, wow. Tiffin, Ohio. Associated Press, an Ohio man who ate Chipotle every day for the past 500 days, said he is finally ready to eat something new. Bruce Wayne ended his streak Wednesday after grabbing a meal at the Tiffin Chipotle branch. I can't believe this story is true. This guy's name's Bruce Wayne? Wayne ended his streak in style, the Findlay Courier reports, by donning a bat suit and ordering mini quesadillas because leather isn't very forgiving. Wayne broke the record for the most consecutive meals at the Mexican fast food restaurant back in December at 426 days. Chipotle pledged a $4,260 donation to a Seneca-based financial assistance for cancer treatment in honor of the $10 a day average Wayne spent over the 426 days. This story is from CNN. When isn't it a good idea to post pictures online pretending a wad of cash is a telephone, playfully eating a chunk of bills, or grinning from ear to ear holding sums of money in both hands? Well, when you have allegedly robbed a bank. And that's what authorities in Asheville, Ohio claimed that John Mogan did last month before possibly giving himself away a few weeks later with his Facebook posts. Whew, good decision making. That's not one of your strong suits. Mogan, 28, and his girlfriend, Dubois, 24, both face felony charges of third-degree robbery and fifth-degree theft, the sheriff's office and Asheville Police Department said in a press release. Mogan and Dubois are all smiles, and the former has his hand full of cash in this Facebook post. Mogan allegedly walked into a branch of the Savings Bank in Asheville, which is a very small community, about 4,000 people, just 20 miles south of Columbus. People, stop putting all your business out there. This is not the first time that we've heard this. More stories about odd eating from the Cincinnati Enquirer. Can you eat more McNuggets than points scored by the Denver Nuggets? Well, an Ohio man tried this. Joe Quinn tried to do the impossible Saturday night while watching the Cleveland Cavs play the Denver Nuggets. His plan was to eat more chicken nuggets from McDonald's than the Denver Nuggets could score during the game. But if you had the Akron man and the Cavs Saturday night, you lost. The Nuggets defeated the Cavs 126-117. Quinn finished with 115 nuggets eaten during the evening. He said the meal cost him $38.99. His Twitter account hilariously dealed his quest along with others commenting on the challenge. After the game, Quinn told us on Twitter that he thought he had a chance that he could out-eat the Nuggets' scores. The over-under for the Nuggets was 112 points, and I felt like I could probably do 100, he said. My plan was to run out to a quick lead, but the Cavs got me out of the game pretty quickly because Denver scored 37 and 36 points in the first and second quarters. His previous record in eating McNuggets was 20. He closed by saying, I really don't eat fast food. It makes me sick. I just don't understand. I just don't understand the logic where you know fast food doesn't agree with you, but you're going to go ahead and put it out there with this crazy bet. Well, one more. Also from CNN. An Ohio man, his family, and a few Subway employees worked 12 hours to make and deliver 5,000 sandwiches as a thank you to University Hospital staff in Cleveland during the coronavirus pandemic. So the folks at University Hospital, the staff members, they're all very, very appreciative and said that they were truly amazed by this gesture. So, yep, there is still a lot of good going on in the world, and much respect to those people that donated those sandwiches and all the time and preparation required to make them. I know some of you saw Simone Biles. She's getting it together. She had a great performance yesterday. I'm still very intrigued by the Olympics. I want you all to pay attention to Sydney McLaughlin. She's the next star. You'll see. And make sure that you keep it together. Remember that you matter. And if you want to talk to somebody about any issues that you're having, I encourage you to do so. There's so many good things that are happening out here. We don't want you to miss any of it. That is it for me today. I'm going to come back at you with more news in just a couple. Make sure you subscribe. You know why. Platform won't let you do very much until you have subscribers. Tip if you want, if you've got news, weird, funny, shocking, goofy, or generally unbelievable, send it along. Put something in the chat. You know how to find me. I'm on Instagram.
Ishi Hakase.
Don't forget the dot.
Ishi Hakase.
And we hope that you enjoyed this news or not news, because the world is a very interesting and curious place. So keep your heads up and spread the word. And stay safe. Much love. I'm out.